Todd, you've got your guy. How pleased are you to be able to announce Brodie Dupont so early in the off-season?
Yeah, really pleased. You bring a guy in. I know a lot of people were probably shocked when we made a coaching change with 2 weeks left in the regular season. It was something we talked about for a while, and we felt it was the right move to get that opportunity to win the playoffs. And when you bring a guy in for that, it's almost like a tryout. And what more could he have done, right? Like if we hadn't won the playoffs, maybe we were sitting here and saying, look, we're gonna, like Brodie would have definitely been in for a shout and would have probably been the lead candidate. But like you have to look around more. But when you give a guy basically 4 weeks to win a championship and he delivers, what else can you do? And we're so pleased with the job he did and the way the players responded. The guys love him, and that's a huge part of this decision. This is a league where you can't put guys, you can't send guys down, you can't call guys up, and you really have to treat this as a family. And I think Brodie's done that. He's really impressed us. Like he stepped in right away and just feels like a head coach from the day he started. So.
With Brodie Dupont as head coach as well, how much is this a view of getting stability for the next couple of years, not just the upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, he's initially on a 1-year deal, and that's just we just decided like let's start with 1-year deal. But I mean, Andrew Lord was on I think probably 5 1-year deals, and I see a lot of similarities. And I think people think that my only comparison of coaches is Andrew Lord, but I've worked with some great coaches. I've worked with Andrew Lord as a head coach, Steve Thornton in Belfast, Doug Christensen in Belfast, and Paul Adey, some really good coaches. And I see a lot of similarities, and it comes down to work ethic and preparation and just his desire to be better. And he's 35 years old. He wants to be a coach, and I think people have to separate Brodie Dupont as the player and Brodie Dupont as the coach, because the moment he stopped playing, we saw a different Brodie Dupont. We saw a guy that's been preparing to be a coach his whole life. I mean, he brought in this book of drills and preparation that he'd been doing for years. Like he's played some great places for some tremendous coaches, and he's taken notes for a long time. And when you see a guy like that, it really reminds you of a couple of the young coaches that I worked with that were we were essentially their first coaching job, and they did great. So I'm excited.
Dupont obviously brought you the trophy at the end of the season after a coaching change. That can be quite unsettling, but what did you see him do to manage that whole situation for the players to not be affected by it?
Well, like when we made the change, the first call I made was to Franny, and the second call I made was to Dupes, and it was Friday afternoon, and he just said, all right, let's go, let's meet with the players. And from that moment on, he was our head coach. Like he took over, and it was unsettling. Obviously, the guys, sometimes a coaching change gives you a lift, and it gave us a lift. Like you could feel it in the room, and sometimes it's not, it's what you need. And I'm not taking anything away from the job Scalds did, but like you can feel when you need a change. And I don't have a history of getting rid of coaches, but you could feel we needed a change, and it was a mountain to climb from. Like you throw him in 4 weeks or 4 games left in the season, but he did a good job and then rode it into playoffs. And people talk about our playoffs are different. It's a short competition. Still a hard one to win.
One thing fans would likely be interested in is recruitment. How much is Brodie going to be leading that, and how is recruitment going so far?
Yeah, to be honest with you, in the exit meetings I had, I talked to every single guy, whether guys are retiring or moving on or what their plans are. And every guy asked if Brodie Dupont was coming back, and as in like, is Brodie coming back? Because like if Brodie's coming back, I'm really interested in coming back, and that wasn't the only factor. But when you hear that from the core of your guys that they want to play for a guy, and that makes a big difference in making your choices of who the head coach could be. Because we could go through the interview process again and find there's a lot of good coaches out there, but when you have a group of guys that you want to build, we want to build a dynasty. We want to get back to winning championships every single year, and we need someone to be at the top of the organization. And Brodie's that guy, but also you need a core of good guys. When we had that in years past, we had a core of guys that would come back every year, and that's what we're trying to do this year. So we're hoping that yeah, Brodie and Neil Francis will take the lead on recruitment. But I think we'll get a good core back from last year's team that won the championship together because of what we've done here, and bringing Brodie in is the first step to that. So I think you'll see a lot of signatures coming our way. There's been some guys just kind of waiting for Brodie to ink his deal, and it probably took 2 weeks longer than it needed to, but here we are.
On that note, then, when can fans expect any announcements?
We talked, like Brodie and I and Franny talked, and we said we're gonna wait until the summit in Calgary and announce all the players then. I'm just kidding. I'm just screwing with you. We're not going to the fans will go mental. We're going to wait till July 8th to announce any players. No, we're not. I would love to do that, but I think the fan base might kill me if I did that. So no, we'll drip feed a few now, and we've got some already signed. We've had a couple guys signed for a couple weeks, and Brodie and Neil are on the phones right now. Like the majority of the recruiting is obviously their responsibility. I think, I think people maybe think I'm more involved in recruiting than I am, and I'm not. Right now it's kind of like daily we're talking about players, and we're thinking maybe, I don't know, 5-6 changes, hopefully, if we get the guys back that we want. And yeah, like it's the fun part for these guys, for the coaches, and because it's exciting for them to build the team and see where guys fit in. Yeah, it's an interesting time. There's a lot of good players out there right now. There's a lot of guys that want to play for Cardiff, and there's a lot of guys that want to return. And we won't have the same team as last year. You can't have the same team as last year. Even when you win everything, you can't have the same team as last year because people's circumstances change. Certain people want more money, other people retire, and it all has to fit together. So it's a fun puzzle to put together.
Final question then. Fast forward a couple of months into October, November time, it'd be a couple of weeks into the season. What would you want to see from Brodie Dupont and the team to think that next year is going to be a success?
To be honest with you, I'm really comfortable with. I don't think of Brodie as like a rookie head coach next year. I feel like because he was here for the most important part of the season, because he delivered a championship, it's going to be really easy. It's going to be really easy to transition. I think the hardest part last year, not just having a brand new coach, but having 14 or 15 brand new guys, it's really hard to gel. And I think the success we've had in the past was down to the fact that, a number of reasons. One of the big reasons was every year we were having 14, 15 guys return. It's so much easier to start a season, especially when the regular season is the big championship to win, when you have that core guys back, because they're coming in here, they're comfortable with the surroundings, they know the city, they're used to the rink, they're used to the league, and that's so important. And Brodie's that. Like, Brodie's been here for a whole year, and half a year as an assistant coach and a few weeks as a head coach. But like, it's going to be a very easy transition. And also when he's talking to players, he can talk about the city because he knows it. He knows it well. And whereas if I went with another new coach to the league and another new coach to Cardiff, it's a lot for that coach to take on board, right? Because it's hard to talk about a city going, it's a great city. I've never been there, but it's a great city, and I've heard great things, because it's almost like a brand new player trying to recruit a brand new player. And so I'm really comfortable with this choice, and I think the fans are going to be really excited with the brand of hockey we play. I think he's shown that, and really, what more does a coach have to do to prove to people that he belongs here, and what does he have to do to prove that he deserves the head coach job? Like, it's not easy to win a championship. There's 8 other teams this year that won nothing, and us in Belfast, they won 2, we won 1, and there's 8 other teams that are going to be chasing that, and there's coaching changes all over the league, and there's some teams that are doing some rebuilding, and I'm very happy going into next season that I feel like we're not in a rebuilding stage. So I'm excited, and I think the fans should be really excited, and I think the players that we're going to be announcing will get them pretty pumped up, even the ones before July, and just to kind of close, like, I think it has been a crazy year. It's been a roller coaster for sure. I would say it's probably been our most difficult as an organization, but to come through with a championship in the end just proves like what kind of culture we have here, and I love the way Brodie has fit into that culture, and I'm really, really comfortable with him taking charge of that and leading the way next year.